So when I saw Interstellar, I went in pretty much knowing nothing about the movie. The only things I really knew is that it took place in space and it was directed by Christopher Nolan. So I really didn't know what to expect, but by the time the movie was over, my first thoughts were pretty much, wow, that was a pretty good movie. However, I'm probably going to have to see it a second time because just like a few of Nolan's other films, I felt that Interstellar was so jam-packed full of information that a second viewing would really help to clear some things up. It's not that I wasn't paying attention throughout the movie, but I just felt like there was a lot of things thrown at me. Inception was kind of the same way in the sense that there was a lot going on in that movie, and the second time I saw it, I was able to enjoy it even more than the first time. Also, like Inception, this movie deals with time and time warps. I think that's the correct term. I'm not sure of the exact scientific term. I'm not an astrophysicist, just some guy on the internet. But anyways, just like in Inception, I thought it added a really cool element to the film. Time is the real enemy here, and we're reminded of it constantly. I mean, you want to talk about the ticking clock plot device? Well, this movie takes that to a whole nother level. Now, I'm going to try and do this review without giving away too much of the plot, but I will tell you that the movie includes Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway going into space trying to find another planet for the human race to colonize. And while they're on this mission, to say that they have a few different choices to make would be quite the understatement. I also have to say that I felt the visuals in this movie were spectacular, and if you're a fan of Stanley Kubrick, you'll be reminded of 2001 more than a few times throughout this movie. Matthew McConaughey delivers a fantastic performance in this movie, and I really enjoyed his character, and it was really nice to see some familiar faces throughout this movie. And speaking of characters, I actually really enjoyed the character of the robot, Tars. I wish I had a robot like that. You could help me with this show. Now that would be cool. A robot as a co-host? I think that might work. I think that could be a cool idea. What do you guys think? A robot. Now, with all that being said, while I think this is a great movie, I should mention some of the stuff that I wasn't so in love with. Interstellar is a long movie. We're talking almost 3 hours by the time all is said and done, and I think part of the problem is that there's just so much going on in this movie. Now, even though I think the movie was long, it never really got boring for me, but I do think that the movie could have benefited by being a bit shorter. Like I said before, there's just so much going on with the story that I think in a way it almost slightly hinders the movie. Now, this is kind of more of just a minor gripe with the movie, but it's something I noticed. At one point in the movie, they skip ahead by 23 years, and I felt that Michael Caine's character looked not that much older than when we first saw him. I don't know if any of you who have seen the movie noticed this as well, but I just felt they could have done a better job at making him look older. But overall, I really did enjoy this film. I thought it was an epic space journey and it was really cool. Just be sure that if you go and see it, don't leave at any point during the movie to go get popcorn or go to the washroom or whatever, because by the time you get back, you might be completely lost with what's going on. So I would recommend this movie if you're a fan of science fiction or you're a fan of Christopher Nolan movies. I would not recommend this movie if you get confused easily or you just hate science. For me personally, I'm giving this movie an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was really cool and worth the price of admission. And if there's one thing that I learned from Interstellar, it's that Matthew McConaughey is one hell of an astronaut. Anne Hathaway too. She was hot. I mean, good. I meant hot.